What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another video. So today we're going to be working on this L5P again here that we were working on the CP3 conversion on before. So I ended up getting the CP3 conversion wrapped up on it. I wish I could have made a video about it because I was going to talk about all the lines and routing, but this will be coming apart again here shortly and I will go over it at that point in time. But for today, the problem is that we got the truck back together and it is going into engine power reduced for, it says fuel pressure too high. Now with these trucks, I've been doing some digging and I figured out everything. It's kind of a little bit of a longer story, but it's good information to know. So for one, as you guys know, we did the sump on this truck a while back and the fast pump is on here. Now if you have an LML, those trucks require about like 15 psi to the CP4 pump, and even too if you have the Cummins, they're all lower psi. Ford's a little bit higher, but apparently this Duramax here with the L5P platform, the HP4 pump needs about 60 psi to get fuel up to it and feed it fuel. Now that's how the fast pump comes. It has about a 60 psi spring set in there, so all this will operate basically as stock with the pressures needed. Now with the CP3 conversion, you only need about 15 psi. So I believe that is why the truck is limping itself out, because it's getting way too much fuel pressure because it has like a 60 psi spring in there for HP4 when now it has a CP3 and only needs a 15 psi spring. Now I went ahead and I got a fast spring for this. It's a Cummins spring. It's a 15 to 20 psi spring, which will hopefully take care of all the fuel pressure problems with the truck. Now what we're going to be doing today is cracking open the fast, getting that all addressed in there. It should be a pretty easy swap. Fast, from what I know, makes it pretty easy. The spring is in the return side of things. So what we'll be doing now is going ahead, getting this fast here torn apart, and I'll show you guys how to swap the spring out. We'll take it on a test drive. We'll make sure everything's good, but for now I want to start it up, show you guys the message it's getting for engine power reduced, what codes it's getting, what rail pressure it's getting. Then we'll work on getting this thing all fixed up. So let's get into it. Alrighty, so this is what it's doing. As you can see, saying engine power reduced. When we come over here to the laptop, let's see, we'll start scanning. As you can see, it's a high pressure fuel system malfunction. So obviously it's something to do with the fuel system. So I believe it's the fast spring like I was saying, so let's dive into fixing the fast spring. Okay, so the first thing we're gonna do is come in here. I'm gonna start the truck so we can start scanning everything. So the main thing that I'm really kind of concerned about right now is just seeing what the fuel rail pressure is. I just read and cleared the codes, but the codes we're getting is fuel pressure, regulator, controller, performance, high pressure. So we're getting too much pressure, and I'm just kind of curious what rail pressure is that we're getting. So I have my PID list loaded in right here. So I'm gonna go ahead and start scanning. It's not reduced right now on the dash, a little cool message, but let's see what we're looking at for rail pressure. So all the way down here at the bottom. Alrighty, so right now we're getting 11,000 psi rail. That's the actual pressure, and we're desiring 6,000. So as you can see, we're just building way too much pressure because, like I was saying before, that the factory HP4 pump requires about like 60 psi, when, you know, it makes no sense because all truck brands across the board are different. Like the LML, they don't require that much PSI. They have a 15, I believe, PSI to 20 PSI spring in there as well for the fast. The L5P is 60 for whatever reason. But then you go into Cummins and they're a little bit lower, Fords are higher. So it all really just kind of depends what pump you got, what brand of truck you got, and along those lines. So what we're gonna do now is work on getting this part installed into the fast. Like I said, this is a 15 to 20 psi spring versus the 60 psi that's in there right now, and hopefully that fixes our problem and it takes us out of reduced mode and we can drive this thing. So let's work on right now getting the fast torn apart and getting this spring swapped in. It shouldn't be that long of a process, but you never know. So let's get that opened up and get this thrown in. So onto the spring, getting this swapped out. First thing you want to do is get a piece of cardboard here on the ground so you don't make a huge mess. Now on the fast pump up under here, you have 3 fittings going to it. The right hand side is the supply from the tank. I'm gonna show that right there. That's the supply from the tank. Then the left hand top side here is the feed to the engine. And then the bottom is the return to the tank. So what we want to do is pull the return line kind of see it right through here, which is this bottom one right here. It's a 22 mil. I'm gonna bust that off, and I'm gonna spin the filter off to get the fitting off behind there, which is red. You can kind of see it right there. Then we'll get it unscrewed, and that should expose the spring. So let me get these pulled off, and hopefully that exposes the spring. Then we'll just get the new spring popped in, and hopefully that fixes all our problems. I'm already making a total mess, but we got the filter off. So as you can see, it exposes the red fitting right there. I'm gonna go ahead and pull that off there, this fitting right now, and hopefully that exposes the spring. I'm gonna try to get you right through here is the best angle. I can't really see either, but there we are. And as you can see, that spring is right there, and that looks like a very beefy spring. I'm gonna go ahead and try to carefully grab the new one here without making a mess over everything. But this new spring, as you can see, condenses very easy. Like I said, this is like a 60 PSI spring. So we're gonna go ahead and get this thrown back into the fitting, get it threaded back in up there, get everything reconnected, and then restart the truck. We'll check rail pressure, and we'll take it on a drive, make sure everything's good to go. And then hopefully this fixes all the problems that the truck's been having with the high pressure. I assume after all the research, this is what it has to be. There's nothing else it can be, but we'll see when we get it in. Here's a little better view of the spring that's in there from Fast themselves. As like I said, that's a 60 PSI spring. We'll put this back in the bag here just in case you know, you ever need it again in the future for something. You got a 60 PSI spring. But let's go ahead and get the Fast pump primed, because got a bunch of air in it. As you hear, it's gonna prime itself out. Try to start the truck up. There we go. So let's hook up now. We'll reread the codes, we'll check the rail pressure, and we'll see what this thing's doing, and we'll take on a quick little drive. Alrighty, so with the new spring installed, as you can see, we're right around where we should be with fuel pressure, right around 6,000 versus before, as you can see, with the old 60 PSI spring, we were right around like 11, 12,000. So it looks like the spring actually did the trick for us. So I'm gonna do a little pull with this. Everything seems to be going fine now. The truck is not limping. We got the check engine light on for a glow plug, but yeah, so that seems to be much better. Truck's not limping or anything. I'm also logging it, like I said, Captain, and go out to make sure everything's good. But other than that, I think we got this all situated for today. Alright, so that's about it for this video, guys. I'm glad that stupid little spring got all the problems on this truck fixed. So if you guys are new here, be sure to subscribe. If you like this video, be sure to leave it a big thumbs up. But until next time, I'll see you guys in the next one. Take care.
Stop this conversation.